Hello friends and welcome to another video lesson from DBOS Talks. If you haven't subscribed yet, please click subscribe and click the bell so that you can be notified of new uploads. This video is in the playlist called Database System Check, and in this video we'll be learning how to check invalid database objects in the database. This is for Oracle. All right. When we say objects, we mean database objects, and that means we're not only talking about tables. If you have an SQL developer, such as the application I'm using right now, you can check out on the left-hand side and under or beneath the Oracle connections. In my case, Oracle connections, there's a connection name called DBOS. Beneath that, you will see the different database object types. So you have tables, views, indexes, packages, procedures, functions. So most of these are pertaining to database objects, okay? So this is what I will be learning in this video, how to know whether you have invalid database objects in your database. Okay, so let's take a look at the one that you will be looking at, will be using for this purpose. So it's called database objects, or DBA objects rather. So you do a query from this DBA underscore objects. Select asterisk from DBA objects, okay? To be able to do this, I forgot to mention, to be able to check for any invalid DB objects, the DB user ID that you'll be using must have at least a select privilege on DBA objects, or alternatively, all objects. Okay, this or this. Yep. Okay. So you must have select privileges. Okay, you can talk about that in another video. Otherwise, you can look it up, you can Google it. But the very basic, you have select privilege access to this DBA underscore objects. And it allows you to look at the different objects. Okay, so a couple of columns you can look at owner, which is owner is in Oracle terminology is pertaining to what is also known as schema, or owner means owner of database objects. Okay, owner, object name, blah blah blah. Okay, so there like I said, the owner column here pertains to the schema or the object owner. Okay, so we will be looking at adding a condition to this one, select asterisk from DBA objects. If you wanted to investigate or look at objects for a specific schema, we can mention that in the where condition. In my case, I want to look at objects which are owned or within the schema of system. So I will add this condition where owner equals system. Okay, so when I execute that, it will only show me objects which are owned by the schema or within the schema of system. Okay, and this is showing all the columns, by the way. But for the purpose of identifying invalid objects, you don't really need to look at all these columns over here. Okay, you can at least 3 of them will be good enough for you to get to know the information you need on which objects are invalid. Okay, so with this, I'll be just adding a little bit of order by here. So, and if I want to zoom in, sorry, I forgot. Instead of doing a select of everything, of all the columns, I will just zoom in on the specific columns that you really need to identify the invalid objects. Okay, so I'll say select object type, object name, status from DBA objects where owner equals system, order by 1, 2. When I say order by 1, 2, this is the ordinal number. I'm referring to the column 1 in the select list as well as the column 2. So meaning order by object type, object name. Okay. When I execute this one, it will return 3 columns, obviously, because I am only mentioning 3 columns in the select list, and it's taken from DBA objects as a condition of where owner equals system. So it will only return to me those objects that are under the schema of system, and it is sorting the output according to the object type and object name alphabetically or by ASCII order. Okay, so this is not the end of it, because we wanted only to look at the objects which are invalid. If you look at the third column, which is status or status, if you prefer, you will see 2 kinds of values. At least from what you're seeing now, you have valid, and for most of it, it's valid, but for one, it's invalid. Okay. So if you only wanted to show or to see the invalid objects, what you will do is you will add this little bit of where condition to the mix. Okay. So let me just indent it for your readability. Okay, so again, I'll just read this. Select object type, object name, status from DBA objects, where owner equals system and status is not equal to valid. Because anything with a status value not being equal to valid will be returned by this. So if I execute this now, I get one record instead of many, because this is the only one database object which has been found to be invalid and which belongs to the schema of systems. Okay. With this one, with the output being returned by the query, we know, of course, we know that the object belongs to the system schema because we have mentioned that in the work condition, right? It's here. Besides that, from the output itself, what else do we know? We know from the output that the invalid object is a function. If you look at this column, object type, it's a function. Second is we know its name. In this case, the name is generate letter, and of course we know it's invalid. So again, you have the preference. If you wanted to look at all the columns in the DBA objects, you can go ahead and do that. But these three columns over here are good enough for you to zoom in on the invalid objects in the schema that you want to zoom into. Okay. So that would be it. This is the way to identify or to determine invalid database objects in your database, and you can even zoom in on a specific schema or schemas by tweaking it in the work condition over here. Okay, so again, you will just, at the minimum, you need a select privilege on either DBA objects or also all underscore objects. Okay, and then there's another one called user objects, but maybe this, if you have access to this, then that would be good. Otherwise, you can go for the all underscore objects. That's it. If you haven't subscribed, please click subscribe and click the bell. And thank you for watching and listening. I'll be seeing you in the next video.